Come on, Rob. Come on, David. No, he went down the hall. What are we what? You guys are here, Rob is not. So I'm just gonna run a Google Hangout with him so that he can.
Oh, okay.
He can. Yes. No, you're good. Face-to-face works fine too.
Okay.
So what do you think of the weird Greek article, the Vanity Fair article?
It was confusing. We were just talking about monks for the longest time, and then didn't get into
What was
like
with the
Greek stuff.
monks?
Yeah.
Well, the monks were sort of the metaphor for what was good and bad about Greece. But have you read? Did you finish the whole article?
I've gone through most of it.
Okay, because he tries to pull it all together sort of near the end. What's that?
It's a long article.
Well, it is, but it's worth reading.
What did he mean by the monastery brought down like the previous government regime?
The monastery basically made a pile of money by trading this ancient land deed for some actual land, which they then sold to developers and made millions and millions of euros out of it. Okay. And when that became publicly known, it created a political scandal, and the people said, the Greeks said, who's responsible for this? And so the government actually fell because of that. So, but I think there were two things that I thought the article helped with. One was sort of understanding the Greek culture, and specifically understanding the Greek tax system or non-tax system, depending on how you want to think about that. Did you read the whole article, Stephanie? Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just asking. So I think that informs more than just those two things that I mentioned. It helps us kind of understand what's going on. I've been reading some articles about Spain and about Italy, and there are similar things going on in those countries, so again, to quote Antonio, it's not just Greece.
So you want to kind of broaden our look at more like the periphery of the EU?
Well, I mean, no, we're focusing on Greece.
Right.
But periodically, we're going to need to say, oh, and by the way, this isn't just Greece.
Right.
If it was just Greece, then they would pay off the Greek debt and be done with it. But there's all these other issues as well. So what are you doing? What are you working on?
Redoing these two articles, summarizing the rest of them, and then also this stuff on kind of like Greek tax reform.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And basically what he's saying is that a lot of the low income that are usually receive these social benefits as well as the pensions, from their early retirement ages like 50, 55, majority of that, the income from those, to those pensions, that those taxes from higher income brackets, which are
It's
turning on
no.
So with depleting the higher income population of Greece, and they're not able to pay all these pensions off the taxes that they get. And actually there's there's been a growth in self-employed and kind of undeclared money that's going into these higher
50% of the people declare that they make little enough to not pay any
Right.
tax.
Yeah.
So they're just not really making any money from income taxes.
Mm-hmm. So maybe we need to, as part of our kind of policy recommendation, say here's what's going to happen to you unless
Yeah.
you start paying taxes. It's all going to come down,
And
you know.
and the whole self-employed sector, it's not like just an inherent greed like problem, and like they're not just inherently they want to be self-employed. They're just tangible incentives that they get from being self-employed. So if the government were to work and reducing those incentives and maybe promoting incentives that brought them back out of the self-employment sector into more like salary jobs, which they are taxed, then there could be a turnaround in the taxation.
Right. There were like half a dozen articles, maybe 4, maybe 8, that I tagged that were on this very topic. Did you see those?
I did not. Where are those?
Go to delicious.com/sgreenlaw.
What now?
Greenlaw. Like my email.
Greenlaw.
Yeah. And then find the tag, click on tags.
Lauren,
Do I have to make an account?
can I share this document with you and you upload it?
Just use Facebook or Google or something, it doesn't matter.
I have more access.
Is it your UNW email?
Okay.
They're both open.
Okay, so click on tags and then find the E482 tag, and it's going to be in the last month. Okay, okay. Ashley, what are you working on?
I'm working on the 2 articles in here. I think 4 scenarios for Greek exit, and then an article that says that the Greeks can pay back their debt, but they probably won't.
Okay, is that the Wall Street Journal article?
Yes.
Okay, good. You're new-ish, right? Okay. Lauren,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
trying to find houses.
No. What are you working on?
I read those articles.
Okay. Okay.
Well, all of them are from 2011, so 2 of them that I read were like really, one of them that I read was really outdated, and it was just, like, it was like, this is gonna blow up within the next month. And making all these predictions and all these things that didn't happen. So
Well, because they made a deal and stepped back from the brink.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the deal?
the bailout.
Yes. So we're going to need to explain what that deal was.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the
So
other one was a similar situation where I was like making all these claims, but the intro to it was really interesting. It didn't have any like, it wasn't like data, it wasn't making a point, it was just this nice anecdote, and then it just.
So are there any docs you're working on at the moment?
No.
Okay. Well, your job is to make that folder. Okay, first job.
I did that.
Okay, cool. And did you move all the docs into it?
Moving,
Good. Okay. Stephanie? Right now?
Yeah, I do usually.
Okay.
But if there is anything else in the meantime, I can work on it.
Okay. So did you do anything since yesterday that I need to look at?
Yeah, I did the summaries of the articles.
Okay.
I did look at, and so there's some important points that I think you can put insofar as like either the political aspect of it for the first article or talking about reasons for, it's more so the case for why Greece should stay in from the view of like everybody else recognizes how important they are to the union.
Okay. And those are in your notes?
They're in the introduction.
Yeah, but in the notes that you wrote.
Yes.
Okay, good, because we're going to need that. Okay. What I found in my years of doing research is it's possible to spend an infinite amount of time reading interesting stuff. But at some point you have to actually start writing stuff. So we don't want to forget that. What we need to work on next, if you finished, is I'm pointing at you, Lauren, but I'm getting you and Stephanie mixed up. I forget which one you were each responsible for. The Here is the Crisis document, is that done? Remember the other day I gave you some feedback about how you need to now pull the trigger? There was like another half page that needed to be written on that. Okay. Okay, so somebody between you two decide to do that. Is the thing that you were working on, the document that you were working on the other day,
Yeah, the one thing was
is structural reform, right?
yeah.
Okay.
The one thing, Lauren had found a study about because we needed to get some of the data on the education outcomes portion. of it.
Yes.
So that's just the one part that's missing.
Okay, so does that make sense to you, Lauren?
Yeah.
Do you know what she said?
Yeah.
And you can follow up with that?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you do the crisis and you do the rest of the structural reform piece? Okay. I'll see you Saturday,
Okay.
and we'll keep you in the loop, especially since you're not starting work on Monday.
I know.
Somebody did the course.
Yes.
TBC.
What are memorabilia courts?
Something. The courts don't have to be like honor stuff. It can be like I did this.
Oh, okay.
instead.
Okay, so the rest of you,
In other words, we're just gonna go to the store and buy a bunch.
and this is actually a good thing because, tell me I didn't just
Do you
delete
have
that.
kids as well?
Did you get it, Lauren?
Oh, that's
Did
too.
you get the invite?
Thank you.
For me?
Oh, I
See you
think that's the
Saturday.
one. I have to go kind of. So do you want to tell me
Okay,
how to-
yeah, I do, I do.
added it to the thing.
But you said you're gonna come back?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I probably wanted.
that's fine,
I won't be able to stay too long. I have
That's
to
fine.
move all my stuff out of my apartment.
That's fine.
today.
that's fine. Okay, what we need to really knock out are those two cases. The case for, and there's actually 4 options, but one is the case for Greek exit. One is the case for Greece staying in. One is the case for austerity, why they ought to pay it back. And one is the case for Greek amnesty. Okay, so we need to wrap those into a set of words. Okay, now you've got, your document was amnesty or
No,
staying
Greece
staying in the euro?
Greece stayed, yeah.
Okay.
It's in the folder now.
Yes, good. So does one of those appeal to you?
Any of them are fine.
Okay, we'll give you what's left over.
Awesome.
Okay. Case for Greek exit. There's a decent sized document there. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. So austerity and amnesty.
Did you ever
Okay.
get that from Timmy? He did the
No.
austerity.
I didn't.
Well, I'll text him.
That would be great. Okay.
Did Tony ever give you anything from the structural reforms?
No. Maybe you could text him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if he did anything.
And then the last one is the case for Greek amnesty, which we can dump on her if nobody else wants to do it.
I'll figure.
Okay. Where you start with, they can't pay it back. It would take 300 years or 200 years or something like that. Okay. Along with those, there's 2 practical questions that I kept coming to, and then everybody said, and then we just kind of left them alone. And it's because they're hard questions. It seems clear that the Greek standard of living has to take a hit.
Right.
Okay. They beyond their means for a couple of decades at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, so there are 2 scenarios. One is they default on the debt, they go into a deep recession, and hopefully long-term things get better.
Right.
And the other is they tighten their belts, do the austerity thing, and the Eurozone continues to send them money. Okay.
This article right actually
Okay.
has a lot about that.
Good.
Euro.
Good. So what we need to do is, to the best of our ability, articulate what the human costs are of those 2 options.
Okay.
Okay. What's the standard of living going to do? in each of those scenarios. What I believe is there's going to be a middle ground that will be better for both sides, but we have to identify what the 2 points are so that we can figure out what the middle ground is.
Yeah.
Okay, so does everybody know what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Brett? Good. Okay. It's almost lunchtime. I thought I would go get some sandwiches from Jimmy John's. Do you guys like Jimmy John's?
Sure.
Okay. So what are you in the mood for? Ham and cheese, roast beef, number 9. You're not the vegetarian guy? Okay. So let me know what you want.
I'm gonna head out.
Okay.
Have friends.
Okay. So do you have something to do?
Yeah, the Greece thing.
Good. And
Are we meeting yet?
yes.
When?
Well, I am meeting on Monday. I'll be here on Monday.
I'll be here.
Okay. And then, some people don't live as far away as you do.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to continue to meet. But I think we're making really good progress.
Wait, does your family still live in?
Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's called Swedish.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, his family lives in.
So my brother, I don't know if I told you this story. Now that you haven't graduated, but that's okay. I'll tell you anyway. My brother works for a defense contractor, done work all over the world. I mean, literally, this week he's in London. Next week it's Australia. I mean, he goes crazy places, and a lot of third world countries too. And I said, doesn't it make you nervous that we're selling weapons to people that might be our enemies?
Yeah.
And anyway, I won't tell you what he said. What he said is, they don't get the good stuff. It looks the same, but it doesn't have, the missile looks the same on the outside, but it doesn't have the same features. So he spent 5 years trying to sell a product to the Saudis. He has done a lot of work in the Middle East, and which he found and at the end he lost. They didn't get the contract. And I said, so I said, what happened? And he said, the team that won, the company that won it, their prints outranked our prints. This is an IA thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not, it had nothing to do with anything other than where they were in the rank ordering of princes. So we go over and we try to buy a prince. We buy the best prince we can find. And then in the end, after 5 years and millions of dollars, some of which actually was not spent on bribes, though they call them business expenses. They got nothing out of it. Okay. Anyway, so he's worked with the Swedish military as well. Okay. So he made this trip to Sweden, and it was in the winter, and they had this business retreat at this historic house way out in the country somewhere. And it was beautiful. I mean, it was like a 200-year-old house. And he's in there for like 5 hours. And he realizes he needs to go to the bathroom. And there's no bathrooms in the house, and because it's old.
Yeah.
So he goes up to one of the hosts and he says, I need to use the restroom. What do I do? The guy goes, oh, you go outside, which is fine, except the cold is not the problem. It's, even though it's 8 o'clock at night, it's broad daylight. No, it was summer. He was there in the summer. So it was broad daylight, so, and there's no bushes, no trees, no nothing, so he likes cultural experiences. That's good for him. Okay. So pick sandwiches. I will go get them. Yes. I mean, you may.
Here.
And if you want to be really cool, you can use a number, but if you don't, you can just.
Actually, can I just go with you because my battery's about to die somewhere.
Okay. So whatever you get done today, let me know what it is so that I can read it and keep, I don't expect you'll get all the cases done in the next couple hours.
I'll look over mine.
Good.
Weekend.
Thank you.
We found out this week that we're hosting NCAs.
Yes.
If you guys have nothing better to do, we play tomorrow at 12:30.
Who you playing?
Hopefully, or probably College of New Jersey.
Is it indoor or outdoor?
That's in the weather.
Don't we have
It's raining,
rehearsal?
it's outdoor. If it's raining, then yeah, I'm still there.
Hey, Rob, you still there? Rob?
Where is the Jimmy John's vote?
It's
Central Park.
Central Park. I think Rob is frozen.